What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over X-Men comics as we work our way up to Days of Future Present, the next crossover that we are going to talk about. Now, before we are able to jump into that crossover, we got to cover some other stories that actually lead into that crossover. But first, we must jump back over to Uncanny X-Men once again. And we're going to cover Uncanny X-Men number 246, 47, and also 48 as well. A three-part story arc to kind of get us ready for the next crossover that we are going to talk about. But the idea of the return of Nimrod and also MasterMold, two characters we have not seen in a good while when it comes to X-Men comics by this point in Marvel Comics. Now, the opening pages for today's video is really important for a lot of different reasons, and you'll see why as we go through today's video, because we do pick up with Dazzler currently holding on to Siege Perilous. Now, this was a special item that we have actually talked about in earlier videos over our coverage over the X-Men. You see, when it comes to the Siege Perilous, it has the ability to give you a second chance in life. Now, before it does that, it does judge you with all the good and bad you have done over the years in your original life. But after that, it does give you a chance at a better life in a new version of yourself. Now, when it comes to Dazzler, she's trying to use her ability as a way to look into the Siege Perilous. See what could be other versions of herself that could be better than the one she's at right now. Now, here comes the problem though. You see, the Siege Perilous does show her different versions of herself that she could possibly become if she does use the actual item. But the problem is every single version of herself ends up being killed off just like that. And that scares her. The idea that no matter what, she is going to end up killed in some kind of weird, crazy way. Now, out of nowhere, she is attacked by some kind of ghost that comes out of the Siege of Perilous that tells her, hey, you are somebody who should know that no matter what, death comes for everyone, which means sooner or later you are going to die. Now for Dazzler, she's freaking out and trying her best to protect herself. But unfortunately, the ghost is an actual ghost. She can't do much, but the ghost does disappear. Now she does find a Siege of Perilous somewhere else in the room, but her hand is scarred as well, leaving her to wonder, was that ghost actually real? But now we have to jump over to Nimrod. Now, when it comes to Nimrod, he is from the future. He's from the Days of Future Past future, the dark future that, well, Rachel Summers is from, where you have the mutants being, well, mostly killed off, and North America is controlled by the Sentinels. Now, when it comes to Nimrod, he was supposed to be the almost perfect version of a Sentinel. But the problem is he got stuck here in the past. But on top of that, he is somewhat damaged. And so when it comes to Nimrod, we see him attacking a crack house, where of course you have people trying to get ready to ship out a huge chunk of cocaine. Now when it comes to Nimrod, that's a huge no-no. And he kills off all three guys just like that. But he also destroys the cocaine as well to make sure it is not make it to the street. Now, after getting rid of the drug dealers and the cocaine, he then takes the money they had, hoping the money would give him the ability to pay someone for his repairs. Because again, he is still somewhat damaged from his last battle against the X-Men and other characters around his time in Marvel Comics. Now we do jump over to Wolverine and Storm. Now when it comes to Wolverine, it's him informing Storm that he's no longer going to be on the X-Men for a short period of time. He has to handle a certain kind of job. Now we are not told what that job actually is, but he does tell Storm, hey, you know what? I'll be back one day, but for right now, I have to go my own path to take care of some business. But don't worry, I'll be back soon and be part of the X-Men once again. Now, this is Storm saying like, hey, whatever job you have to do, we as the X-Men, as your family, we do have the ability to help you. But this is something Wolverine wants to handle on his own. Now, there is another character I do want to talk about, and that would be Rogue. Now, around this time in Marvel Comics, we had learned that Rogue had touched a lot of people over the years, being able to absorb their powers, but also their memories as well. But here comes the big problem. You see, almost every single person that she had touched over the years was able to build a persona inside of her mind. Now, most personas were actually controlled by Rogue's mind, except one. One was able to break free when Rogue needed help really bad, and that was Carol Danvers. Around this time, she was known as Miss Marvel. And so with the Carol Danvers persona being able to take over Rogue's body, she was able to help Rogue, but also help Wolverine escape Genosha. But after that story arc, you have Rogue and Carol Danvers continue to fight for control over the body of Rogue. And really, Carol is winning more times than Rogue has when it comes to being in control of the body of Rogue. And that is going to be somewhat important for the early parts of today's video. But then we jump over to Havoc, Colossus, and Longshot. And later on, Dazzler will join them. But really, it's just the three guys having a training session. But this is also used as a way to remind us who is currently on the team besides Dazzler, Rogue, Storm, and Wolverine. You also have Colossus, Longshot, and also Havoc. But at the same time, it's our three guys saying, listen, we have to get better when it comes to our abilities. We have to know where we're able to pick up where someone else falls off at. But at the same time, how can we use our powers together to overcome a more powerful enemy down the road? It's honestly a very quick but cool training session to see. But now we have to jump over to the Hellfire Club. Now we do pick up with a character known as Sharon Kelly. And Sharon Kelly is going to be really important for the ending of the first chapter for today's video. And you'll see what I mean here in a moment. But Sharon Kelly is actually married to Senator Kelly. Now we already know he plays a very important role for a lot of different things when it comes to the X-Men, especially what's about to happen very soon. Because when it comes to Kelly, he's having a meeting with Sebastian Shaw, the no longer main leader of the Hellfire Club. Because back in New Mutants, we saw Magneto take over the club. But either way, when it comes to Sebastian, he is trying to make a deal with Senator Kelly to make a new kind of Sentinel, a possible Nimrod. You see, Shaw had fought Nimrod before, and this is where he's kind of saying, wouldn't it be great we have our own Nimrod from this time, not from the future? A Sentinel that has the ability to adapt, but also has the ability to repair itself, to continue on with its attack. Now, when it comes to Kelly, he's not really down with this idea all the way. And the reason why, because he's afraid of the negative outcomes that could possibly come with creating a Sentinel like that. Now, their conversation is interrupted by his wife, who wants some alone time with her husband. So, you know, homeboy is about to leave to go spend some quality time with his wife. But now we have to jump back over to Nimrod. Now, around this time in Marvel Comics, Nimrod was going by a different name, better known as Nicholas Hunter. He would pretend to be a human as a way to blend in. But while working at a construction site, he finds the last few pieces of MasterMold. But just like that, you have MasterMold being able to absorb Nimrod. making a new version of himself that does have the ability to repair itself with almost any kind of metal nearby. Now, here's the thing. Rogue and Psylocke were nearby. Now, this is not Rogue. It's Carol Danvers who is currently controlling the body of Rogue. But you have Carol Danvers go out of her way to try to stop MasterMold, this new version of MasterMold, to only get smacked away and to fly into the car of Senator Kelly and also his wife. Now, guys, something else I do want to mention is that around this time in Marvel Comics, the world believed that the X-Men were dead. You see, back in Fall of the Mutants, in the X-Men chapters, you had the X-Men give up their lives on live television as a way to save the world from the adversary. Now, here's the thing, because the world believed the X-Men had died at that moment, not knowing that they were brought back to life soon after, thanks to Lady Roma. But you had the X-Men say, listen, the world believes that we are dead. That gives us the ability to work from the shadows. Now, when it comes to the X-Men though, there are a few people out there who do know that they are dead, but that list is very small. But something else I do want to mention is that when it comes to the X-Men, well, they are invisible to all technology that has the ability to track them. So like cameras or other devices that are able to detect a mutant nearby. And so the question is, how did MasterMold know that Carol Danvers was on her way? She's in the body of Rogue, who is a mutant. He should not be able to know that she was coming. Now, something I do want to mention is about the death of Senator Kelly's wife. And let me explain what happens here. So as we dive into the second chapter, we do pick up with the rest of the X-Men arriving just in time to help out Psylocke and help out Rogue, or Carol Danvers, to fight against MasterMold. But earlier, we saw Rogue crash into the vehicle that belonged to Senator Kelly. Now, after the crash, you had his wife being able to pull him out, but she went back into the vehicle to save Rogue. But that was when MasterMold had attacked the vehicle once again to get to Rogue, and she was severely injured. And so in the middle of the battle, when it came to our heroes fighting against MasterMold, you actually have Psylocke and Kelly. Hey man, listen, I can't help your wife. The only thing I can do is just ease her pain because she is about to die right here and now. And Psylocke has no choice but to leave to go back into the battle with the rest of the X-Men. Now, the X-Men are able to get rid of MasterMold by working together. But when they look over at Kelly, they see him holding the dead body of his wife. And this is going to be very important. Now, in the middle of the second chapter, we are reminded about Jubilee. Now, when it comes to Jubilee, she first appeared back in Uncanny X-Men number 245, or I think it was 244. Either way, when she first appeared, it was really more of the female X-Men members going out of their way to help her in the middle of the mall. When they went back home, she followed them, but they have no idea that she's there at their base. She's been hiding in different areas of the base. And so currently with the X-Men gone, she's able to walk around freely, except outside the base on the top of a mountain, you have Gateway watching her. And she's kind of left to wonder, why in the world is he just watching her? Why is he not trying to make any kind of moves at all? But getting back over to our heroes, this leads into the big moment that I was talking about earlier when it involves a certain X-Men. You see, you do have our heroes believe that MasterMold has been defeated, except because now he has combined with Nimrod, he has also gained the ability to repair himself. And so he rises right back up again to fight against our heroes by being able to use the nearby metal pieces to rebuild his body. Now, when it comes to our heroes, they once again tried their best to actually fight MasterMold. But again, because he combined with Nimrod, he now has the ability to adapt. He now knows how to protect himself against their different kinds of attacks. And so now our hero have to wonder, what in the world can they do here? Now, when it comes to Dazzler, she realized that she's holding on to the Siege Perilous. And this is why this item is going to be so important for today's video, because she believes if she's able to open up a portal with the Siege to push both Nimrod and MasterMold through it, then they might have a better life somewhere else, but at the same time, they'll be able to win this battle right here. And so you do have our heroes work together to hopefully push the robot into the actual portal. But the robot grabs on to Rogue. Now, this is Rogue saying, hey, Dazzler, go ahead and use your powers. Hit me, but to also hit MasterMold to send both of us through the portal as a way to save the day. Now, when it comes to Dazzler, she wants to find another way to save Rogue, but to also make sure that he, MasterMold, goes through the portal. But right now, there is no other way. They need to do something right at this exact moment. And so Dazzler has no choice but to use her ability to push both MasterMold, Nimrod, but also Rogue through the portal. And so now we're left to wonder, what new life will all those different characters have in this new world of Marvel Comics? Now, later on that night, we do pick up with Sebastian Shaw because he got word what happened to Senator Kelly and his wife Sharon to be informed that she had died. But this is Sebastian Shaw knowing that he can use this moment right here to change the mind of Senator Kelly. And you have Kelly tell Sebastian Shaw, go ahead and go through with your Nimrod program. I am tired of the carnage. I am tired of the chaos. It's time to end everything. And this leads into the idea of Shaw and also Kelly working on their own version of Nimrod. But while you have the two characters talking to one another, they have no idea that they're being watched by a group of characters. One of them, better known as Donald Pierce, but the other two is Lady Deathstrike and Bonebreaker, and they got some big plans for the X-Men. Somehow they know that the X-Men are alive again. While they're having their meeting, they're also being watched by two other characters, and that would be the Nanny and also Orphan Maker. And so now we're left to wonder, what is going to happen next? But now we are going to jump into Uncanny X-Men number 248. Now, this issue is not really part 3 to the first 2 chapters that we have saw. This is a completely different story, but I kind of want to go ahead and rope it in for today's video. Now, we do pick up with Wolverine, except this is not Wolverine. This is a robot that is pretending to be Wolverine, trying to attack a new version of the Reavers. And so the Reavers are sooner or later going to attack our heroes. Now, on the new version of the Reavers, you have characters like Donald Pierce, Pretty Boy, Skullbuster, Bonebreaker, Lady Deathstrike, Reese, Cole, and Macoon. And I really hope I pronounced that last name correctly. But this is going to be the new Reavers. Separate, they had a hard time fighting against the X-Men, but now they believe if they work together, they might actually defeat the X-Men. But now we have to jump over to Longshot. Now, when it comes to Longshot, he's actually having a nightmare. Now, something else I do want to I want to mention is that when it comes to Longshot, the reason why he's having this nightmare because he does not remember who he is. You see, the only thing he does remember is when he first met the X-Men and everything after. And that's really it. For him, that was the starting point of his life. But ever since that moment, he has been trying his best to remember. Now, occasionally, he will regain small pieces of his past, but not enough to get a complete story. And so in this nightmare, he is confronted by the different women that he loved over the years. So like Rogue, Dazzler, Spiral. And now the problem is, though, he feels like because around them, they all are going to end up dying sooner or later if he's not able to remember who he exactly is. And that's actually really important because this is Longshot about to leave the X-Men. You see, we jump over to Storm, and somehow Storm, her spirit had left her body, and she's now currently standing near Gateway. Now, she believes it was Gateway who had done that to her with some kind of magical ability. But then she's confronted by the spirit of Longshot, where she sees Longshot trying to pick up small pieces of himself and attach those pieces to his main body, as a way to say he is trying to regain what he lost. He is trying to remember who he was. And so this is Storm realizing that she's about to lose another member. Rogue already left. Got forced out. Wolverine left, and now it's time for Longshot to leave. It's him saying, hey, I gotta go. I have to go out there and figure out who I am, because honestly, with me being here, I could possibly hurt the team down the road. But that leads us over to the Nanny and Orphan Maker. Now, when it comes to the Nanny and Orphan Maker, especially the Nanny, she believes that she has the right to kidnap mutant babies and take them away from human parents. And the reason why, because she believes that human parents should not have the right to raise mutant babies. And when it comes to Orphan Maker, well, like his name says, he's going to make you an orphan by killing off your human parents. And so when it comes to the Nanny, she kind of looks at the X-Men as children who need saving. Now, most of the X-Men, really all of them except Jubilee, are not children. These are young adults, but she looks at them as children who need saving from the Reavers. And so that begins the process of her kidnapping each member of the X-Men. Now, she's only able to get 3 of them: Psylocke, Dazzler, and also Havoc. But now, something else I do want to mention is that, yes, the Nanny is a mutant. She does have psychic abilities, but she's not on the same level as Psylocke, Jean Grey, or Charles Xavier. She's a low-level psychic, but what she does is she uses a special kind of gas that really helps enhance her abilities when it comes to her trying to control someone's mind. But either way, her and Orphan Maker are able to capture at least 3 members of the X-Men. Now, the last 2 members are going to be Storm and Colossus, who have not been captured just yet. But you do have Colossus now being attacked by other people in robotic suits. Now, this is very similar in what we saw when it came to tie-ins for Fantastic Four for the Inferno event. Because remember, in those tie-ins, we saw Franklin Richards also get kidnapped by the Nanny and put inside a robotic suit as a way to continue to control him. And so when it comes to Psylocke, Dazzler, and also Havoc, they are currently inside robot suits being controlled by the Nanny and attacking Colossus and also attacking Storm as well. Now, they're also trying to use Psylocke abilities as a way to control the minds of Storm and Colossus. Now, when it comes to Storm, she is able to fight against those psychic attacks to be able to continue to fight against the Nanny. Now, as the battle goes on, the Nanny and also Orphan Maker realize they gotta go. They do not stand a chance in winning this battle against Colossus and Storm, even though they have some help on their side. Now, this leads into the idea of the death of Storm. Yes, you heard that right, the death of Storm. And you heard that right, because as we dive into the last 2 pages of this storyline, you actually have the X-Men who were captured by the Nanny no longer be under her control. And so they were able to rejoin the battle. But here's the thing, you see, when it comes to Havoc, his mind's still somewhat fuzzy. It's more of like, hey, should he help out the Nanny or should he help out Storm? Now, the Nanny and Orphan Maker, they're trying to get away, and Storm is trying to use her ability to stop them from getting away. But you have Havoc go ahead and release a huge amount of energy in a single blast to blow up the ship that belonged to Nanny and also Orphan Maker. But Storm was nearby and she was caught in the blast. And so once you have the X-Men run over to where the ship had crashed, you have Psylocke confirm that she is not picking up on the minds of the Nanny, Orphan Maker, and also Storm. And so we're left to believe in the idea that Havoc has killed off Storm. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.